everyone, this is Pico Entertainment and we're back again, and here now we have another video for you, and we're going to talk about Captain America Brave New World once more, and this time report on the box office numbers for its opening theatrical weekend of release, which first covers the 3-day weekend from Friday the 14th to 16th of February 2025, and also the 4-day presidential weekend in US theatres. Now there may be spoilers mentioned not only for this film but also for all other films in the series within the Marvel Cinematic Universe, so just be aware when going to this overall video. And you can check out both my non-spoiler and spoiler reviews of the movie within the channel, and I'll leave some links within the description. So we'll then take a look at the opening box office numbers, firstly in the US market, where over the Friday to Sunday 3-day weekend, the film has earned around $88 to $90 million. Now when you include the Monday 17th of February for the 4-day presidential weekend, the film is projected to earn just over $100 million. Internationally, it's looking to earn around $92 million, which gives the film a global tally so far of around $180 million over the 3-day period and a possible $192 million over 4 days. So when debating these numbers, asking whether they're good or bad, unfortunately we are at a stage now within the MCU where we are always looking at extreme reactions. This is either going to be a great opening that shows the franchise is going to get back to its glory days, or it's going to be yet another flop and a disaster because of the comparisons to recent Phase 5 movies, the supposed low cinema score, or the reported $300 to $400 million budget due to reshoots, and that this is yet another sign of Marvel coming to an end. So from my own perspective then, I'd look at these numbers and ask people the following questions. When Brave New World was initially announced, a Captain America movie without the original Captain America, Steve Rogers, what was your overall reaction? Did you expect it to be as big as an Avengers movie or a Spider-Man movie? Did you expect it to be as big as, let's say, Captain America Winter Soldier or Captain America Civil War? Did you expect it to be as big as the last couple of Thor movies or the Guardians of the Galaxy movies? If we are all in agreement that the MCU is not as impactful as what it was within its Phase 3, where any film was generally making anything from around $600 to $1 billion worldwide. And if we are also in agreement that the superhero movie genre is indeed in decline or showing signs of fatigue with audiences due to the massive drop in quality and also commercially and critically, of course this is not just down to Marvel. We could spend a whole eternity talking about the failures of both Sony and DC. So if we take all of those factors into account, then a Captain America movie without Steve Rogers in this current climate of the superhero movie genre, opening of around $88 to $100 million, I would say is a good result. Now no, it's not as massive as Deadpool and Wolverine, but of course that was a much bigger crossover movie, crossing over certain generations of fans, taking iterations of characters that have been long time successful for many years, plus featuring cameos of other characters from other movie franchises. So this wouldn't be an apt comparison. The main comparison that I'm seeing certainly online is that of to Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which was the first movie of the Phase 5, and that opened to around $108 million within America. Well, we look at that movie and we could say that that was the third installment of an Ant-Man franchise whose previous 2 movies had solid successful outings and were performing more than the previous sequel. So is that much more of a fairer comparison? What would you genuinely consider to be the ballpark for a Marvel standalone story today? So again, when you ask these type of questions, this is why I do believe that this opening weekend is good, if not overall spectacular. Now the more concerning question is how the movie will perform in its second weekend, given a lot of the reviews, which I have to say are more mixed to negative. We could be looking at a 60 to 70% drop, which is normally the standard of the superhero movie. Now, of course, in recent times, Marvel has experienced slightly higher than that, especially when we look at the likes of the Marvels. Now, to be honest, I was actually surprised that Brave New World managed to gross around $88 million. I was looking for something at around 60 to 70 million. So it could be possible that the drop within the second weekend could be something respectable, but I think at this stage that's been a bit more hopeful and optimistic. Now in terms of the overall box office, I'm feeling that this movie will finish anything from around $450 to $600 million. I think overall Marvel were hoping for something north of 700 million, but after the initial reviews, I think it's going to fall short of that total. So as usual then, there will be the overall inquest, whether this is the end of the MCU. Well, as we know, this is the first of 3 MCU films in 2025, so for me, I will wait until we get through both Thunderbolts and Fantastic Four before making a final assessment. Now, in my earlier 2025 preview of the MCU, I did deem that Fantastic Four First Steps would be the most successful outing and that Thunderbolts would be the least successful. So at this stage, Brave New World is performing close to what I had expected. I would also say that Brave New World shouldn't be the barometer for any definitive end or success to the MCU. They still have enough big hitters around, from Avengers to Spider-Man, Deadpool, Thor, Doctor Strange, which would all be successful enough to justify the universe continuing. It's only when those type of projects start underperforming that we can really start having a serious discussion as to whether the franchise is truly coming to an end. Now, going back to this movie, of course, the counterpoint to any positive spin or reaction will be the reported budget, as I mentioned before. Now, it's up to you as an individual whether you truly believe the constant rumours and speculation as to whether the reshoots really propelled the budget to over $300 to $400 million. Now, whilst there have been some counter statements in the media debunking the fact that there were no reshoots, I think overall, if you watch the movie, and certainly the tonal shift and certain scenes and sequences, how they play out, I think you had to be honest and definitely believe that there were indeed some sort of reshoots or definitely some reworking of the original script. But overall, when I look at this film, I will still stand by my original feelings that this should have been a standalone Falcon story, costing at most between $80 to $90 million. It should have been far more lower scale and character driven. Yes, you can have action and spectacle, but this should have been much more of a leaner paced, much more constrained actioner, again hinging much more on the intrigue and the conspiracy and the political ramifications, which indeed the film did do for the first hour or so. And we also have to be honest that Brave New World was clearly part of the diversity initiative that we saw integrated into the MCU from Phase 4. So this is really now the last residuals, if you like, of that mentality within this franchise. And we could already see with the upcoming projects in the future that Marvel is trying to steer away from that mindset and diversity push and try to get back to what got fans on board in the first place. And this is why we are seeing many of the original Avengers coming back for the 2 Avengers movies, Avengers Doomsday and Secret Wars. This is why the likes of Daredevil Born Again is basically bringing back the original cast for what is essentially the 4th season of the Netflix show. So at the very least, Marvel have acknowledged that things are not firing on all cylinders as what they used to be. But whether they can get back to those true heights, particularly what we saw within Phase 3, I'm very doubtful that they can, again, to the previous reasons that I stated in terms of the fatigue of the genre and the overall uniqueness and the novelty of what the Marvel Cinematic was for those first 10 years or so is largely gone now. Perhaps only the introduction of the X-Men into this universe, leading up to any potential crossover with the Avengers, would be the only possible way that they could somehow get back to the hype levels of Infinity War and Endgame. But again, after seeing certainly the recent material and how they've handled certain characters, I'm really not sure or as excited at the prospect of an MCU X-Men as what I used to be before. But overall, back to Brave New World, I would say again this is a solid opening, and it will really only be the second weekend that will tell us as to whether this will be a successful first start or not for Marvel in 2025. So those are my thoughts and feelings when looking back at the opening box office numbers for Captain America Brave New World. Let me know what you think in the comments below. And if you have any other movies, television series, or any other topics or issues within the pop entertainment and culture scene that you'd like to see me cover within the channel, then also drop me a suggestion within the comments, and I will see if I can provide further commentary for you on that subject matter within the future. Please also hit like the subscription and notification buttons so I can provide you with more high quality content like this in the future. But that's it for now. Take care of yourselves, and I would see you very, very soon.